Very good evening. You're watching the Free Press Journal live on YouTube. We are also live on Facebook at the moment. With me is S. Balakrishnan, Executive Editor of Free Press Journal. Welcome, Bala. We are here to
Hi.
discuss Mumbai police arresting a female teacher under the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences or POCSO Act for allegedly forcing a 16-year-old male student to establish a sexual relationship with her. That's the charge of POCSO, under which the female teacher has been arrested. A case has been registered. The accused teacher is now being interrogated. Fresh details have come up as well. I'm going to go across to Bala right away to update us in this case. Bala, the last I checked with you, it seems the teacher has admitted to the crime and given out some murky details of what was going on over the past 1 year. Over to you.
After that, this is a totally bizarre case which has shocked not only the academic world but the entire city. Everybody is shocked as to how they couldn't believe as to how a 40-year-old teacher who has been appointed in full trust and the trust of the students in her kind of thing, she can trap and lure a student, her own student, to different five-star hotels, JW Marriott, Lalit, and some President Hotel, and then served him drinks and then had sexual intercourse with him, not once or twice, but over a period of 1 full year or maybe even more. Today, she was produced in the court today, POCSO court today, and the psychiatric test was also carried out. Medical tests were carried out on her, and the court has remanded to judicial custody, and more investigations are going on. Especially the police are trying to find out whether she has trapped other students of her students, and they're waiting for others to come forward. And their photograph is also now in the public domain, and it's a matter of time. And most importantly, one doctor who was her friend, who was part of this racket, she has gone back to London. She's based in London, and she was the one who gave some tablet to this student when he was complaining about high levels of anxiety, depression, and all that. So to cure him of his depression,
it's also strange that there is this entire racket that was operating to abuse this child.
It used to be a very organized kind of a racket. Yeah.
You know, the report that you have put out, and it's on our paper today, it's about the psychological test for the teacher. So what has come out in that, Bala? Anything we know so far?
No, today the police told the court that they have conducted the psychiatric test and the psychological evaluation and all that to find out whether she is in the proper frame of mind. But the report has not been made public. It will take a couple of days for it to be finalized and submitted to them. But the police are going to the depth of the case and trying to find out if more people are involved in this matter. But the thing is, she is already. What is more shocking is that she is not a single woman. She is already married and she has given birth to twins. And she stays somewhere close to Bombay Scottish School where she was working. But how could a teacher, a 40-year-old teacher, could think of trapping a student, a 16-year-old student, and forcing him to have sex?
And how did it go undetected for so long? Yeah, this is also worrisome, isn't it? That something like this goes absolutely undetected because nobody suspects a teacher to cross the boundary to get into this sort of an aggression. So because of that faith and the trust that we have in the teaching community, a lot of this goes unnoticed.
The police are also questioning the management of JW Hotel, Lalit Hotel, and all that, and finding out as to how do they cure the rooms to this woman and this boy, whether her Aadhaar card was checked or what reason she gave, and what kind of relationship she gave to the hotel about herself and this boy, whether she called him as his son, and then they were staying in the hotel. You know, imagine JW Marriott and this kind of five-star hotel cost thousands of rupees for an overnight stay. But this is exactly she has spent. So over 1 year, she must have spent lakhs of rupees, not only in hotels and expensive food and expensive gifts and all this to this boy. She has spent so much of travel and everything. So from where did she get the money? Police are trying to find out.
Multiple layers as well. Yeah, the complicity is at multiple levels. And it is not
Exactly.
possible that a lot of people didn't know about it. A lot of people probably knew this was going on, but how did it go undetected, and how did it finally come to light, Bala? What was that
See,
tipping point?
what happens is this boy is apparently in the final year, and his family noticed a lot of change in his behavior. His behavioral pattern
Hmm.
had changed drastically, and he had become very moody and very depressed and all that. So the parents were very much worried, and he had cut off relationship with his teacher, and but she couldn't do without him. She has even told the police yesterday that she's madly in love with this boy. So she sent a
Hmm.
servant to the boy's house to persuade him to contact her. That is when the
Hmm.
parents got suspicious as to why a teacher is sending a servant to contact and all that. And they found the boy's behavior is also very odd. When they questioned him
Hmm.
closely, then he came out with the truth as to what happened. For a period of 1 year, he was repeatedly sexually assaulted. And this has become this is a disgrace to the teaching profession. It's a very noble profession, but this one woman, she has completely disgraced her entire position. She has traumatized not only the boy, but then his family also. And what about her own family? She has brought shame upon her family also. And
Absolutely. But the fact
yeah,
that
let's
these things go undetected, the other aspect is, imagine a teenage boy. It's such a delicate phase of life, and it is quite understandable that things like this, a child will not be able to easily disclose uh, for various reasons. The sensitivity of the matter is such, but what it also reveals, Bala, is that young boys are equally vulnerable to sexual crimes, and more often than not, perhaps those go unreported and undetected because the suspicion is less, in the case of a woman being the abuser, and because of that, a lot of these crimes go undetected. But are you telling me today that the young boys, teenage boys in schools, are equally vulnerable to sexual crimes?
exactly, Afrida. Just see, in the past, there were cases of the school bus driver molesting a student, or the bus conductor molesting a student, or even raping. One case has come about Chembur recently, where the bus conductor, where this one lab assistant raped a child, etc. But this is probably the first time ever a teacher,
Hmm.
that too a 40-year-old full-fledged teacher of Bombay Scottish School, which is a highly prestigious school. The who's who
Yes,
of
one
Mumbai,
of those
they send their
legacy schools,
children.
actually. Yeah.
Precisely,
Hmm.
the who's who of Mumbai, they send their children in full trust and confidence that their child is safe with the teachers. But if the
Hmm.
teacher herself has turned out to be a monster who has taken out this child to several five-star hotels, and even in the car she had sex with him and took him to an
Hmm.
isolated spot somewhere outside Mumbai, forced him to undress, and then kind of forced himself, forced herself on her. This is a total maniacal
Yeah.
behavior.
I mean, look at
True
the
behavior.
impunity with which this woman was carrying on with this,
Exactly.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that she had everything planned in the head in terms of how the child could react, there were antidepressants used. The fact that he
She
was
was so
lured
bothered.
saying, this is not uncommon, in order to somehow shift the shame or the guilt or whatever, that it's not uncommon for young boys to have affairs with older women. So she actually had this entire plan in place when she made those advances. In a way, also
Exactly.
preempting what would be the
Exactly.
reaction and taking care of that as well in advance.
Look at Afrida, when this boy complained of depression and anxiety and all that. She got her doctor
Hmm.
friend who had come
Hmm.
from London for a holiday to prescribe a drug for him. See the
Yeah.
viciousness of the whole thing. She was so desperate to have sex with him, kind of thing. She went to the extent of getting a doctor friend to prescribe a drug, and got the drug. And apparently, this is not an OTC drug. This is only the
Yeah.
prescription. You get this drug, Daxio or something like that.
Hmm.
She has got
Hmm.
the prescription. She has gone to the chemist and got the drugs, and administered the drugs on the boy, and then kind of had sex with him several times. This is the height of desperation, really the height of desperation.
Yes, as of now, we only know POXO has been applied, Bala, but the fact is there are multiple layers to this. If it's a substance abuse, drug abuse case, that would draw other sections as well, because
Precisely, you're
and
100%.
yeah,
I would
multiple offenses that way, and also the
exactly.
fact that the others are involved, it makes it far more complicated, not just an
The
individual
police are
case.
the police are trying to extradite that. my information, my reporter Avadhut says that the police are trying to extradite that doctor friend of hers who's now holed up in London, bring her and also record a statement. But whatever be is given the sensitivity of the case, the government should fast track this case and ensure that the strictest possible punishment is kind of meted out to this Bipasha Kumar.
Right. And tell me, Bala, what is the school's responsibility in this? Because when we as parents, and I am a mother of a teenage boy myself, of course, these sort of things are extremely alarming to me. But what is the school's responsibility? When they are hiring or some due diligence or background check, is it possible? Or you think that, no matter how much of that you do, these sort of cases you cannot sort of rule out by doing enough background checks?
See, I tapped my sources in the school, and what they are saying is that she had resigned in April last year. Now, this I am fact checking this, and that she was staying somewhere close to the school, and they say that they had absolutely no clue as to kind of know what is going on, because they are pointing out that none of the sexual intercourse took place within the school campus. Everything was outside in five-star hotel, some remote place or something like that. The school had absolute no clue. Now, from the practical point of view, tell me you're recruiting somebody. How do you know about the sexual kind of the proclivities of the candidate whom hiring? The school says that my sources says that they hired this teacher in good faith, and she has been there for quite some time, and there was no complaint as far as the teaching and it is concerned. But obviously, she was teaching much more than English to her student.
Right. I mean, I want to ask you from the parent point of view also, Bala. You are experienced in multiple matters, but if you see this sort of a case where you see the parents in this case did not report immediately, wanted the child to be out of the school, then noticed the depression, did not immediately raise alarm, is there a problem there? I mean, the stigma of it, the parents concerned about reputations and not immediately reporting and calling out the offender.
So maybe this is, I am doing basically guesswork. Maybe the parents were worried that his career will be spoiled if they go to the police and the police come interrogation statement before the magistrate, POCSO court, blah, blah, all those things. Maybe they didn't want all these things to distract him from his studies. They wanted to focus on his studies. And once he had appeared for his exam, and when they noticed that his depression was continuing and even becoming worse, that's when they gathered courage and then went to the police and complained. My hats off to the parents for having the courage to go to the police. Otherwise, had they kept quiet and pushed the whole thing under the carpet, nobody would have come to know, and this woman would have lured and trapped more students in future. So this is a good thing what she has done, and I'm certain after this incident, all the schools will be very, very careful. But the problem is the schools don't have information, the communication system whereby they know what's happening in the school or between the students and the teachers. So they must need to keep a close watch on whatever is happening, behavioral patterns, behavioral changes. Every school needs to just check out all these things. And also they have to keep a psychiatrist in their panel so that any child having any problem can go to the psychiatrist and confess as to what is happening. This will be one source of information about what's happening. If Bombay Scottish had this system, I'm certain this boy would have gone there and confessed to the problem which is facing, and they would have been able to identify this teacher long back. But anyway, but be that as it may, at least now, I hope Bombay Scottish and all other schools, they who are charging huge fees, they will be kind of wise enough to appoint a psychiatric in their panel and ensure the mental health of the students.
Right. In conclusion, Bala, what I see and what is my takeaway from this is that POCSO, of course, is gender neutral, but there are sexual predators everywhere across genders. We as parents, we as citizens must be aware that, there is no safe space anymore. A teacher-student relationship, guru, shishya, parampara, none of that applies. Anybody can be a predator on the prowl. And therefore, we can't let our guards down. I mean, for a mother, like I said, this is extremely alarming. The fact that young boys are vulnerable to teachers, I mean, of all people who you trust the most. Thank you so much, S. Balakrishnan, for joining us.
Thank you, Afrida. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.